Hey, what's up, people? All right, this is the beginning of it. I'm going to start getting these videos cracking. You know, I'm not going to go crazy with the background and stuff, as you can see. This is basically in my room. It's more about the stories and the things I've encountered in my life and growing up in New York City in the 80s. I could get into so much different details. You know, I'm starting to look through this whole YouTube thing, and I'm also starting to understand, like, you know, a lot of this content, you know, they might just can the shit, you know, it might not be allowed. I gotta kind of like not curse and shit and be more like on the up and up, you know, so just bear with me. I think this is gonna be some fun shit, but in general I'm just gonna talk about being me, you know, in this city and my graffiti career. I started back when I was like 12 years old. I can tell you stories. Chucky Mavroyas used to write Chuck's. Dappy wrote for a while. Davey wrote. Yeah, him and this guy Cad used to write Cad. Probably my first bomber partner. Yeah, that was around the time I was in junior high school. PS 167 Wagner. Chris Cap lived down the block, which was Cad. He wrote Cad. Actually wrong. KAD is what he wrote. And we'd run around. I actually started writing with him. He got stabbed up on St. Patrick's Day, and he lost all feeling from pretty much his waist down. Got bad in the spine there, fucked him up for life. So he was in a wheelchair. So we'd still spray paint. Actually, everything. Records were in the time back then. This is, I'd say seriously with him, probably about 82, 83. Records were in. I remember AC/DC Back in Black came out. Probably about 81, even 80, 81. AC/DC Back in Black, right after Bon Scott passed away. I remember that. My thoughts are more or less based on music. I remember the eras through the albums that were out and stuff like that. So bear with me, we'll get through it. I'm a new jack to this stuff, but I got some interesting stuff. Anyway, yeah, he got stabbed up very bad on St. Patrick's Day and lost all feeling, I believe, from his waist down. And, you know, it fucked up, man. It was in a fucking wheelchair. I still see him around, actually. He's still wobbling around in the neighborhood and stuff. But we had this plan. He would, like, lean forward, drop cannons behind him. This is before they even had paint behind, spray paint racks. You know, it was probably not even considered harmful. They weren't even thinking about people huffing it. I huffed a lot of paint, I'm not going to lie to you. With the silver and stuff like that, we did that. But yeah, we'd steal the records too, the albums, stick them behind his back, and he would just sit on it. He would have like a blanket with him. I could sit here probably fucking till sun up, sun down for probably about 3 days telling you the shit me and this guy stole. But eventually it kind of wore itself out. I got tired of wheeling the guy around, to be truthful with you. I've seen a lot of concerts and shit with him. A real cool guy, Chris, and it's just, you know, I'm a teenager. I'm 14, 13 years old or some shit. I remember I saw Black Sabbath with him, Rainbow, Right Between the Eyes tour, Richie Blackmore. I saw Black Sabbath with Randy Rhoads, actually, Ozzy, Randy Rhoads. I saw Black Sabbath with Ronnie James Dio singing, yeah, Madison Square Garden. Good times, good stuff. But, yeah, we kind of, I'm a wild dude, so just couldn't like deal with it no more. You know, this guy's in a wheelchair and shit, and I'm like wheeling him around and stuff, and it just kind of seemed like he gave up or whatever. But you know, I got nothing. He's still around. You know, God bless him and shit like that. But then from there, and at that point, I actually wrote hair, Hair, like the hair on your fucking head. I don't know. But, you know, anyone would probably laugh, like, yo, you're the one that did that shit? Because, yo, I went off on that shit. Yeah, a little kid. You know, then later on, Chucky Mavroyas, a Greek fella, used to live above Talco Hardware Store, diagonally across from Wagner, right around the corner from Chris Cad, which was 76th and 77th on 2nd, I believe, and there's a pizza parlor right across here. Yo, we used to rob that fucking hardware store. Then around the corner from there, they had the Lions Den. Yo, we'd break into there at night, just take everything, like all the paint we needed and shit like that, yeah. I did a lot of graffiti with him for a while, and Then after that, throughout all that, I was already hanging out with Lace, Andrew, L-A-C-E, Lace. Back then it was ESP, East Side Party, which I could go on and on and on about that. Those are some tough cats, man. They ain't take no shit. You had Nada, ESP, but not Nada TFO, not the Nada from the Bronx. This was Scott Nada. He also wrote Scott. He did the ND blockbusters and stuff that. You had Fate, Fatal Frank is another one, Frank Dubé, Chris Bazzani, who was Sadist, TSS, he was down with TSS, with KB and M's TSS. He lived on Roosevelt Island. He had Dave Filio, he wrote Dave Rock. Yeah, he was a salty dude, man. He was also from Roosevelt Island. Yeah, he did some crazy crimes, man. He was like killing people and shit like that up at Columbia University or something like that on the campus and stuff. I don't know. It was all over the newspaper. It's not like I'm saying anything bad about it, but yeah, he was like the Columbia University murders. He was running around murdering people in the fucking dorms and shit. I don't know. But and he had Robert Chambers also. I was good friends with him, who was also good friends with Dave Filio, and somewhere along the line, one of them guys ratted on the other guy or something like that. To the best of my knowledge, I remember some words about that. I don't even know how Dave Filio got dragged into that whole shit with Robert Chambers. And I mean, once again, Robert murdered a girl in Central Park. And this guy, yeah, I mean, I could go on and on and on about these stories. But right now, we're going to just kind of like stick with graffiti in itself. And I mean, you're already just talking about me, 14, 15 years old, maybe. 16. I mean, these people, and we're talking about the Upper East Side of Manhattan, man. I mean, these people up here, man, especially the people before me, they ain't take no fucking shit, man. Everyone thinks like, oh, this and that, but this shit was crazy, man. These fucking people here, man, they weren't fucking around, man, and especially the people before me, and it's just the way graffiti was back then. It's like not the way graffiti is now, and what I mean by that is, the graffiti writers of today are picking and choosing the parts of the graffiti culture they wish to stroke and play with. And back in the days, it was kind of like graffiti was a larger element than that. It was actually the way you carried yourself. For instance, you could be up like a motherfucker, but if you ain't like backing that shit up and like you're just like, yeah, it's almost like a ghost. Like you're there, but you're not there. Like, oh yeah, you're just taking up room on the walls. It's like, you had to put your tag out there. You had to fucking stand your fucking ground, most and foremost. Very, very important part of the graffiti culture. The people that don't like to stand their ground, I mean, no one does. I mean, I've adapted to it. I mean, look at my tattoo, Evolve. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's like, it wasn't meant for everyone. And now it's kind of meant for everyone. It's like been candy coated. I mean, you can't go running around slicing people up and chopping people up or anything like that anymore. Like, and just, it's different. Like, even back then, we were more wilder than the average cats, and even the people from the South Bronx or wherever the fuck they were. It didn't matter. And I could pretty much break down a couple of pretty good examples. The Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame on 106th and Park. The 106th Street Park, even that TV show called that, but it was more about music. But anyway, on 106th Street, Park Avenue, you have this thing that's called the Hall of Fame. It's surrounded by walls. You could Google it. Graffiti Hall of Fame. It's got a little fence here. It's a public school. Anyway, Joey TDS was the go-to guy. Every 4th of July weekend, they would pretty much get together the whole weekend, and they'd paint the place. Companies would sponsor it with spray paint and shit. You'd have DJs out there, doing all this stuff, spinning records and shit. And everyone would come down, and the way it was supposed to be, at least the way I could picture it in my mind is, the dudes that like put in work, Scheme, Dez, I mean, the Dez men were doing that shit before it was even that show. They were doing it when it was like illegal, Vulcan, all these people. I remember the front of it, Wendy Williams, the Plasmatics with the machine gun, the fucking chainsaw and shit. Yeah, I was young at that point, but anyway, I twisted it all up into a ball. Joey TDS was running. Originally it was Stingray, SR. He used to do it, did a lot of top to bottoms with Trap. But the real trap, or I shouldn't say the real trap, because both of them kind of get respect, but trap TFA, trap OTB, you know, trap. I mean, I hung out with good people, you know. There's another trap, IF, Iconic Figures. Oh, no disrespect to him. Puts it in with those T's and shit. Hanging in front, beautiful blockbusters, fucking beautiful. So they both got their things, but the other trap I'm talking about, TFA, OTB, he goes back before the other one. He was in that movie Star Wars, like a little child in it. You know, I was like the same age as him, actually, probably around when that movie came out. You figure it in. So anyway, all that stuff there with the Hall of Fame and everything like that was a good spot, a good place. You know, it was supposed to be nice. And like I said, Joey TDS was doing this shit. So this guy Stingray, I believe, Stingray 106. He had a lot of good people. Puma 106. I mean, anyway, Stingray actually, I believe, was like a custodian or something like that there. So he would get this permission, and they would do it. It'd be beautiful. And I loved it. I thought it was like perfect, you know, the location, everything. Because these guys were doing it before this even happened. Now, like I said, Joey TS is doing it, you know. He's doing a great job, man. Joey, a very good friend of mine. He's the godfather of my son, man. You know, straight up. But anyway, somewhere along the line, this guy, Ezo, E-Z-O, like manipulated shit. And all of a sudden, he's running shit. You know, I mean, it's like, it didn't last long, believe me. I saw that. I nipped that shit in the butt. But anyway, and yes, me, I did. Anyway, this guy Ezo, he's up there, oh, you know, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, you know. So this guy, now this is funny too, because this guy Per, FX, Per, Bronx, shit like that, he does a lot. Anyway, he's not letting this guy Per paint in there and shit like that. Now me and Joey were talking, and my boy Lace, I'll call him Andrew, Lace. L-A-C-E, lace. Not L-A-S-E, that doesn't spell lace. L-A-C-E, like the lace of a shoe. Anyway, he was told, yeah, you're going to be able to do a piece, you know. So I'm helping Lace up. I've known him since I was a child. And I'm like, yo, Drew, man, Lace, man. Yo, you're getting abducted into the Graffiti Hall of Fame, you know, for all your work. Because he did a lot of fucking hole cars. All you people that are from New York and know who I'm talking about, yo, that dude did a lot of fucking hole cars, man. I mean, he's up there, man. He's done a fucking lot of beautiful, perfect fucking hole cars. He's up there with like the big boys, like Scene and Dondi, and he did like that many. He really did a fucking lot. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. He did a lot of fucking hole cars. So I'm like, yo, dude, you getting in, man. You know, you've been abducted into the Hall of Fame and this and that, you know. So he's all happy, you know. He always getting all his colors together and shit. He's got his outline down and shit. So all of a sudden, in the course of a couple of weeks, it's like this guy Ezo, and Lace can't do his shit, you know? So I'm in the Hall of Fame and shit, you know, people getting ready to do the wall. I mean, Joey, what the fuck's going on with this shit, man? You know, Lace, you know, I ain't going back to that dude. And I'll get into Lace, man. That dude ain't no fucking joke, man. Straight up. Now, I'm going to tell you about a couple of fights that dude's been in, like, later on and throughout it. It's a fucking tough-ass bitch, man. He fucking knocks people the fuck out. Anyway, you know, he's like, yo, I'm sorry, man, but the fucking guy Ezo, you know, he knows these people, know this. And I'm like, who is he? Like, what? You know, look, he's like a big guy. He's actually taller than me. I'm almost 6'5". I'm like 6'4" and 3/4 of an inch tall. This guy's like 6'5". You know, he's taller than me, but he's like 400 fucking pounds. You know, huge, man. And like me right now, you look at me, I'm like, you know, I'm good. You know, I'm solid, you know? But this, blah. So I'm like, ooh, that goofy motherfucker over there, like, pull my knife out, like, yo, I'll slice that bitch up right here. Fuck him, man. He'll be in the hospital, you do your Hall of fucking Fame. By the time he gets out of the hospital, everyone will be done painting. You know, Joey's like, come on, Rob. Come on, are you bugging, man? There's like 50, 60 fucking people here. I'm like, come on, man, they ain't gonna say nothing. But he was right. That was kind of like the beginning of it all. You can't fuck around like that no more. You see, back in the days, you could do something like that. Just run, you poke them up or whatever, and then just, and yo, people be like, I wasn't paying attention, I'm sorry, you know, and they would not, but nowadays it's different, like they'll put that shit on YouTube and shit, yo, check it out. So anyway, Joey's like, nah, don't do that shit, you know. I said, well, yo, Joe, I'm gonna go talk to the motherfucker, because this shit ain't happening, hell no. I'm like, nobody should have run. Nobody's. Me and my people will take it all out, man. Nah, fuck that. Joe's like, yo, Rob, chill the fuck out, man. You bugging, you know? I'm like, because I already didn't like how shit was moving around there. Like my man Stay High, a very good friend of mine, Stay High, 149. Yo, when he was alive, that fucking guy, man, yo, that was my peeps, man. When he was alive, I remember, you know, times are hard, man. We all can't come up roses, man. You know, he was going through it. So, well, you know, Stay High, 149, man. Like, yo, like, hell the fucking king, man. And these people out there, like, yo, I swear, he had little canvases, you know, he's just trying to hustle them and make a little buck or something, you know? You got a bunch of tourists there. And, like, I remember writers, too, man. They're like, yo, yeah, you that shit, man, yo, this, that. Like, yo, they were all the same people we talking about. I'll tell you, like, Ezo, Cope 2 did that shit. Hell yeah, I'm like, yo, what? Like, yo, I was, like, pissed, man. Yo, you could ask a lot of people that have been in that Hall of Fame. Me, and D3, my boy D3, Sammy. Yo, we stood in front of, like, 40 or 50 of them. Like, yo, fuck that. Y'all ain't doing shit, man. Because, yo, that's how we were. And they knew, too. Ain't no one, I walked down there, ain't no one even fucking do a blink to me at all. Because they know where that fucking place will never fucking live. Never. Like, we will just cross that. I told them, too. Like I said, there's 40, 50 fucking people there, so I think, you know, you're going to see some comments on this. Because there were people that were there. And I'm like, nah, man. I'm like, what are you going to do? You know, a bunch of these people started stepping. I remember D3 was right here. And I said, yo, what you going to do about it? You going to beat me up? Yeah. Fuck, well, I'm in the hospital getting my little leg fixed or whatever the fuck you do, break my nose and shit. Oh, I'm going to have this place looking like the St. Patrick's Day parade, man. I'm just going to have people up in here like this. Like, yo, you ain't going to be able to do nothing here. Like, yo, 4th of July is going to be St. fucking Patrick's Day for the fucking rest of eternity, man. So, yo, this, that. So I said, you know, so I ain't going to bother with this shit. Yo, Ezo, man. As Ezo, he started creeping up with this guy, Peak. Actually, not creeping up. He was getting up a lot. Doing these Ezos with these skull faces. Now people's minds are starting to pop. They're like, oh, yeah. Well, he was running around with Peak, and he was doing these EZO, but the O was a skull. So I'm like, yo, ain't none of that shit live. Like a week or two later, I don't give a fuck if it was hidden, like out in Brooklyn or Staten Island or where. Yo, my man D3 took out all that fucking shit. And I caught a couple of them up in the Bronx, Westchester Square, I think it is. Yeah, there was a Revolt piece there, a Zephyr piece. I caught them out too. He wrote Dinosaur. A living dinosaur or something. Anyway, I can tell you some funny ones about this guy Zephyr, man. He tried to pop his collar to me too once. He didn't know who he was fucking with. But anyway, we got back to this whole shit. So, yo, D3, like, destroyed all this stupid shit. And they knew they couldn't. He seen the whole Hall of Fame not coming for me. I'm like, yo, huh? So he said to himself, I don't write graffiti no more. True fucking story. He said, yeah, you get. So Joey got back to Hall of Fame. Lace got to do his piece there, and then even this guy Per, they weren't letting P-E-R. Remember that, P-E-R, FX Crew. All right, even him. He's, oh, yo, thanks, yo. I'm like, yo, I don't need that shit. Because like I said, I was already upset at the way they were treating my man Stay High 149 in that place. So I'm like, yo, you know, I just want Lace to get in. You know, the same with the Easter hole car. I kept crossing out these hole cars, these trains actually, 4 hole. Yo, I think they 3, 4 times they tried it. But every 10 whole cars on Easter, you know, it's like, before that they attempted it, I crossed out every single fucking whole car. Then again they tried it, I crossed out every fucking whole car. You know, so then I was like, yo, Andrew, he played good cop on, he's like, well, you know, Robert's Robert, man, RD's gonna do RD, man. You know, and they're like, so then Lace, you know, we had it all planned, and she's like, I got an idea. You know, let me and my man KK1 pull off some whole cars, you know, bump off a couple of these toy New Jack motherfuckers, let Lace and a fucking KK pull in some whole cars, and, you know, I'll talk to RD, man, that shit will run. You know, so big on shit, they came off, I backed off, and it ran. You know, that's how we did it. Otherwise, ain't no one gonna open no doors for us. That's the way we did shit. That's the way it went down. I could go on and on and on. Here's another perfect example. You got this guy. Like, I mean, all these stories at first, these are going to be violent. You know, they're going to be violent stories. Basically, it's a lot of fighting. A lot of fighting. And people, oh my God, remember, you know, you're so this and that. Like, but that was graffiti. Like, Nowadays, it's like you can walk up. I've actually seen this guy spot KMS or whoever the fuck it was, or Knox or one of them, getting the shit slapped out of him and doing a video. And like, I don't give a fuck, man. Like, it's just weird, crazy shit. Like, you know, people just, they don't get down like that. Then they'll go home on the computer and be like, and like all of a sudden there's some badass god, you know? And that's the problem with graffiti today. It's like, somehow it's become a fairy tale, like a story that these people create upon themselves. Like an identity, I understand. You don't want the cops to know who the fuck you are. You come up with some sneaky little name or something and you write graffiti. But they like create a whole identity that don't even exist. Like they badass, they out there, you know, like, but they're not. They're like weak, like people that are just like tick, 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 tick. I mean, don't get me wrong, some are very talented, they write good shit, but that's nothing, man. That's just a fucking mural, man. Like, yo, I'm talking, like, seriously, the person is talking to you right now, a fucking RD, yo. I fucking put in work, man. I mean, fucking decades and decades of fucking work. I had fucking did tags, I had millions probably at this point of tags, literally. Millions with an M. I'm dead fucking serious. Anyone on here say I'm lying, call me a fucking liar. I'm very well rounded. Who else is out there? The only thing I slack on is fill-ins, little bubble letters. It's the only thing I slack on because I never saw a reason for it. I could do a tag fucking the size of any fucking building, why bother? You know, done. You know what I mean? Done. You know. Did a lot of blockbusters, a lot of old cars. I think, in total, I think it's 17 whole cars, just RD, on the whole car, top to bottom, end to end. I mean, I can't even remember how many I shared cars with, like Gary, my man Gary Sash, 357, it was actually a whole car, Gary Sash, RD, 357, it came out in that book, Born to Run or something like that. But going back, it's like, no one else is as rounded and out in that field as long as me. I've even pulled off a couple of pieces, never on subways, but, you know, little abandoned areas and shit. I mean, just to be more everything, you know, and that's very important. Like I said before, like, you could fucking write all you want, man, but if you don't got, like, the name behind it and, like, you're not doing it. Like, if anyone could just cross you out and be like, yo, fuck this dude, and you ain't gonna bark back, or you know, you ain't even up. No matter how much you're up, you're not even up if you can't defend that shit, you know. And I actually had beef with the whole city for 15 years, 16 years, the whole city. Am I lying? Am I lying? Please comment. Have I not? Have you not heard of this? In New York City, all 5 boroughs, RD, and beef with every fucking body, every fucking crew out there, unless you were hanging with me, which was very few and some. It was at the point where people honestly thought part of graffiti, the, like, initiation to graffiti is to have beef with me. Like, it's almost like the rite of passage. I mean, I've had people come out of nowhere and just start going over me for no fucking reason. MQ, DMS, this guy, MQ, he does the Q. Anyway, that guy, he came out of nowhere. It was right after JJ died, another death. Yeah, JJ 357, John Zavolis, motorcycle accident. Right after he died, this guy's pranking Sammy's house, D3's house. Yeah, JJ's in his coffin. You know, it's like, that's, but I don't know. My brother later met up with this MQ guy in Rikers Island, actually. I think C94 or C95, one of them units. And he was like, yo, Rob, man, what you want me to do with this guy? You know, like, So, you know, my brother put him on the phone to me, and I was like, yeah, you know, everything's good, he got no problems anymore, I'm done, you know. But, yeah, once again, my brother's in Rikers Island while this guy's dead. That shit could have went bad, bad. You know what I mean? That guy, MQ, he's not built like that. You ever see that guy? He's not built like that. Another perfect example. Like I said, it's going to be a tirade for a hot minute with my YouTube here. Another perfect example. You have this guy, Terra, Jason, The Mob, I actually knew this guy Ziggy. It was a bike messenger with me for many years. Ziggy the Mob. But this guy we're talking about is Terra Ammo. Now, he got in touch with me about this guy Duro, that got out of prison. Pedophile. Was a child molester. This guy Duro, CIA. Duro. CIA. Pedophile, raped a little boy. So I actually know someone that was upstate with him, once again, prison. Like these people, it's just how it was with this area that I'm standing in right now even. People I know up in prison were actually teaching that motherfucker how to read while they were doing their bits. Anyway, make a long story short, no one likes a pedophile. They're raping little boys and shit. So, this guy Jason Terra. Ammo was his bombing partner for a while. But Terra, Jason, he's getting in touch. This guy, Duro, CIA is having a show down near this place. It's almost like the West Village almost, or the Culture Club it was back then. So he's having this show down there. He goes, that's fucked up. That dude raped a little kid and this and that. So I'm like, yeah, I heard about it. I heard about that, man. And I'm like, so what are we talking about here? He said, I'm going to get him in this and that. So when he said that, my wheels started spinning. I'm like, fuck it, I'll blow him up, So I'm dead serious. I'm over there, I'm checking him out, and I find out this guy Snatch, a big black dude, man. He's taller than me, man. And like I said, I'm like 6'4". He's like 6'5", 6'6", but like 400 pounds again. I'm like this Ezo guy. So I'm thinking, I was just going to go up to this guy Duro in the club and do him up real quick, Then I realized that this guy Snatch, I got no problems with him. He might have just gotten away. Anyway, if this guy Snatch happened to come up behind me and grab me, and I'm like, whoosh, I do him. He's fat, man, fucking fat. You stab, I believe me, I got a lot of experience with this shit. You stab the fat motherfucker, I swear the fat here, the cellulite, it drops over the cut, and the dude don't really bleed out like he should. Like he'll actually stand on his feet a little longer before he goes up. You know what I mean? So I'm like, and then I'm thinking at 22 with a fucking tennis ball. You don't click it on it, you just hold it. Ping, ping. I was thinking, yeah, I'll shoot him in the fucking dick. That fucking pedophile, So anyway, push comes to shove. So this guy Jason, Terra, 161, he reaches out back to me. He's like, okay, I printed up his arrest record that proves that he was arrested for pedophiles. I made like 100 copies. So this is what we'll do. You'll hand them out and then I'll hand them out. I'm like, what are you talking about? Hand them out? I'm talking about doing this motherfucker in, We'll hand out this. I'm like, that's kind of like ratting. Like, you don't like to do. But once again, that's the difference. My head's spinning over here like we're getting down. You know what I mean? And he's talking about handing out some paperwork and shit, on the guy is stating that he raped a little boy and he's a pedophile. I'm over there ready to, like, that's the fucking difference. And this dude, he's from the Bronx. It's just, those are the things that I could go on and on about stories like that. Like, for instance, Frankie Gator. Yeah, he passed away actually about a year ago, maybe even less. Nothing to do with COVID, nothing. But, I remember him and this guy, Pace, Hot Crew, which was also Pace 357, a very good friend of ours, Pace Paoli, Andrew Paoli. And he used to hang out with Gary Sash, 357, his little brother, Pedro. So anyway, Pace, he didn't know little fucking bunk, man. That fucking dude was putting in work. He was cutting people up left and fucking right. And him and Frankie Gator, I don't remember what the fuck the story was. I just remember Frankie Gator asking, you got some shotgun shells? So I had 12 gauge shotgun shells. I don't know. So he had a whole larger caliber, 16, maybe 23, I don't know. But he had a shotgun, he'd find ammunition. Anyway, Pace had like a little 380. Actually, both of these people are dead. And anyone that knows them from any neighborhood knows these dudes fucking got down like that. So anyway, I remember Pace was like chasing them around. And he pulls out like a little Walter P. 380 or something like that. Bang, bang! All of a sudden, fucking Frankie Gator turned boom! And you're talking like 72nd Street, New York fucking Avenue, man. Like the hot, it's like, all the glass builds. I'm like, jeez. There's like 12 of us. We're all like hanging up. And it's just, they met up and they just started going for it. We're like, yo, this shit was bugged the fuck out. Anyway, this dude, Pace, he goes behind a lamppost, you know? So Frankie Gator gets behind one of them limited edition Jeep type things, like an SUV. And so Frankie, he shoots up at the don't walk sign, you know, the big yellow thing, right? It says don't walk, and it says walk. It's got like a little guy on it or a hand. You know, when you're crossing the street, it's like a yellow thing, don't walk, and it blinks and what. Anyway, he shoots that fucking thing, it's shot. Those up chunks of it and shit falling all over fucking Pace, you know? Pace is like, oh, blah, blah, and all of a sudden, you hear the cops coming in, like, oh, you know, we got the fuck out of it. But, yo, that's some crazy shit. Another perfect example, D3, my man Sammy. And Lace, L-A-C-E, 357. I was just telling you how he is. Perfect example. I don't remember what it was over, but honestly, I remember D3, Sammy, saying, yo, what's up, Pops? To Andrew, Lace, because like Andrew's like maybe 3 years older than me, Lace. And he's maybe 6 years older than D3. So Lace like, yo, what'd you call me? Come on, what the fuck you call me? I'm like, no, he ain't fucking around. Like, he's serious. I'm like, he just called him Pops. But maybe it was some shit brewing inside. But, yo, before you know, it's like, pow, pow, pow. You know, I'm like, whoa, yo, what the fuck? You know, it's like, yo, he hit, and like D3's a big dude. Like, he's maybe 6'1", 6'2", but he's like 200, 300 and some pounds, man. But yo, he came up, Lace was like, and Lace was a big dude too. He's like 6'2", 6'3", about 230. And you know, he don't got no belly, you know. So he comes up to him, but yo, he lifted that fucking dude this far off the ground, like I swear. Sammy went straight up and then down. It was bang, bang, bang. Then Sammy gets up, you know, he hops, you know, Lace hops on top of him, boom, boom, boom. And so he gets up and shit, I don't know, something happens, but you know what I mean? So Sammy, D3 gets up, right? And there's a Korean deli there when these things were starting. And they have like these things outside with ice in them with orange juices and like little pieces of cut up kiwi fruits and pineapples and shit. They put in the ice. And I'm like, yo, I'm looking at D3 and his face is like the fucking Toxic Avenger. Like the shit's growing as I'm looking at him. And he's like dumping it in this ice. And it's like the whole fucking ice thing just turned red. That's how much he's bleeding. So he's like, yo, like this. He just goes like that. He runs back at fucking Lace. He starts punching Lace in the face, fucking tearing him up. Yo, these two, I swear to God, at the end of it, this guy Vincent, he's going to laugh if he's on here. He's got an account. Anyway, he walks up, he's like, yo, Rob, you're going to let them beat them? I'm telling you, boys, man, you're going to let them beat them. They're not, no weapons, man. They're not stabbing each other and not. Let it play itself out, you know? It's like an alpha thing, a pissing contest, you know? He's like, yo, but they're bleeding. So he's like, yo, Sammy, which is D3. He's like, yo, Andrew, because he knows us by names and we don't really call each other our tags. So he puts his hand on each one of their chests. He's like, stop, guys. Stop it. Right? Yo, as he does that, actually D3 and Lace both go like this. Boom! Yo, I swear, they both hit the dude like this. Like, yo, the shit was like crazy. Yo, he was on the floor. He was like, it was all fucked up, right? So I go over to him. And at this point, I heard cop going, and I actually started seeing it reflecting off the windows. I was dirty, which means I was carrying shit that could get me in trouble. So I like slapped Vinny. I'm like, real hard to figure. Yo, dude, he's like, he's coming at me. See, that's why I didn't get involved. So I went, yo, taxi! I hopped in a cab. I got out of there. Cops pulled up. And they actually just told the cops, yo, man, we, you know, having a little fun, man. Ain't no problems, yo. So then they asked Sammy. Sammy's like, yeah, we're good. And he's like, yo, but you're covered in blood. Like, you people need medical attention. It's, you know, they told me this shit afterwards. Lace was like, yo, I couldn't eat a steak for like a fucking month. But anyway, he's like, yo, do you need any kind of medical attention? They're like, no. And they're like, yo, you guys were fighting. Like, and they're like, yeah, but we're not pressing charges on each other. It's all good, you know? So the cops broke out and shit. Right after that, they went home to Lace's house, about 2-3 blocks from there, and smoked a fat joint. It's like it never happened. You know, but it's like, I swear, then I came back over, I'm like, yo, what's up? You know, this, that. They're sitting there laughing at him. I'm like, yo, you took him out, man. I was like, yo, that was a good fight. Like, yo, that was crazy shit. I was like, they were both like, yo, for real, like, yo, Adrian, like Rocky and shit. Them fucking guys went hard, man. But, you know, that's just how it is. It's like that, you know, it was just, yo, Pops. He called them Pops. Like, I've seen shit like that happen so much in this place. It's like, yo, people just lump the fuck up, man. It was like, just insane. Yeah, a few fights Lace had, man. And he body slammed me through a fucking glass window. The tramway diner. When he was trying to, yeah, I was a dick. I'll admit it. But, I went with him to, out to Astoria. He wanted to take pictures of a whole car he did the night before, and we were up all night, and he ran by his, you know, I was with him hanging out while he did his whole car. I actually did it top to bottom, you know, nothing to brag about, just the basic RD crap I do. But he did a really beautiful whole car, and he wanted to get pictures of it. So I didn't give a fuck about mine, but, you know, he went home, he had weed, you know. So he rolled a nice fat joint. He's like, yeah, we'll wait for it. We'll smoke this nice fat joint and shit. So it was fucking cold out, you know, on the platforms, the stations. These are outdoor stations. That's why we go to Astoria. Outdoor station, you could take real clear pictures of it. Indoor stations, you can't. You know, obvious reasons. You know, you have all poles and all types of shit. You can even stand on the other side of the tracks, take the picture, have me go inside and pull the emergency brake. Then they got to figure out which emergency brake. I mean, the train will be there for 10 fucking minutes, and you can just clip off on it, you know. But anyway, you know, we're waiting and waiting. He smokes the fat joint and shit, you know. No more weed left. And, you know, I'm sitting there, it's like 2 hours go by. So I'm like, yo, I ain't sitting here no more, man. It's bad of me, you know. So like, I'm like, yo, Drew, Lace, you know, like, yo, Lace, your train had to come ago, man. 'Cause I remember this graffiti right here was on it, man. I think they pulled your car, man. Like, I remember this car, or this train was right in front of us about 2 fucking hours ago. We just saw everything on the line. I don't know, I think they pulled your shit and they're buffing it. He's like, no, I wouldn't say that. I'm like, what the fuck else? This train was right in front of me. 2 fucking hours ago, we're here. We saw everything that went by. What else can we do? It's supposed to be on this side. It's not. It's gone, man. And he's like, well, what do you think? I'm like, I don't know, but you know, it's fucking cold out here. So they, all right, oh, yeah. You know, I started. He was actually honestly starting to think that maybe that train did go all the way around and it's in front of us again. You know, why would I lie to him? You know. So yeah, we get on the fucking train, right? And as our train's pulling out, the train's pulling in with with his whole car. I'm dead fucking shit. He grabs out, he tried to, you know, the doors closed, that shit started moving. He was like, you know, he was fucking tight, right? Like, he didn't say nothing the whole way. So anyway, you know, I'm sitting there, you know, there's a pretty girl next to me. I'm like, you know, hey, how's it going there? You know, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, you know, we're like, you know, we're laughing and shit. He's over there like this, like just leaning against the fucking car door. I'm like sitting down and shit, you know, talking to this girl, like, he's just getting more and more burnt, right? So we get off of 59th Street. That's the stop I lived at, you know, 62nd Street's where I lived at. We get off of 59th Street, right, walking around, you know, past Bloomingdale's, we go down to 2nd. I'm like, yo, Drew, you all right, man? You feel like not talking to me and shit, you know? He's like, oh, you fucking Mr. MTA over here, man. Why did I even listen to you? And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, you're fucking like Mr. MTA. You told me, like, this, that, and like you're a fucking motorman or a fucking conductor, Rob. What the fuck, man? Blah, blah. And I'm like, he's like, yo, I'm like, dude, man, what the fuck? Relax, yo. He's like, relax, relax. Like, that was the last thing I should have said to him. So he's like, fuck would you have done, Rob? I said, well, I wouldn't have listened to me. If I felt in my gut, I would have stuck around and got my pictures. Yo, before I even finished that shit, I was like, right here. I was like, as I was going out, he caught the top of my shoulder. Yes, and right under my balls. And he's like, what? Boom! You know, I swear, Tramway Diners. I think it's a wine store now. 60th and 2nd Avenue. I did like a boom. I landed right on, I went right through the glass fucking window. I landed on these old people's fucking meals. You don't realize it's early in the morning at this point, you know, it's people eating like eggs and shit. I had fucking coffee there and shit. All of a sudden I like, boom, I landed right on that shit, right? So I look like, He looks like he's climbing through the fucking window after me. I'm like, Jay, I get up off that shit, I run. I run out the front fucking door. I just start booking home. But I mean, yo, that's the kind of shit, like Lace, you know, he was always good cop, but believe me, he was far more dangerous than me and probably anyone else involved with that crew. He's actually the prez of 357, not me. I know, I mean, I actually crossed out some 156 guys with 357, and he liked the idea, and I really didn't give a fuck about a crew or not. It didn't bother me. No, yeah, sure, why not? It sounds like a plan, you know? So that's pretty much how 357 got started. Also, D3 was there, and JJ, and that's pretty much how the 357 thing got started. But I was never nothing more than, like, we had it broken down into sections. I guess the way I could explain it is you had people that would do whole cars that were really beautiful shit. I could start naming people right now. Lace, 357. Amazing whole cars, like I said before. You had Kaya, C-A-Y-A, 357. Really good artists. I mean, nothing even with graffiti, just like art. Like the motherfucker could paint you like you are. You would be like, oh shit. Then you'd start talking to her, thinking you're talking to a person. Real good artist. Understands lighting, shadowing, everything. And you had KK. You don't realize KK was like 17 years old at that point, 18 years old, doing these beautiful whole cars with the Honeymooners, with Ralph Cramden and fucking Norton. And he did himself in a Mercedes with the license plate 357 or a Beamer, I forget. Yo, it's some crazy fucking whole cars. So, you know, I'm like, you know, nothing for nothing, but I'm not fucking, I'm just doing fucking, like, I'll do the war. I like that shit. I'll stick to the war. And so whenever these guys wanted to do shit, I was kind of like, taking care of, like, the area, you know what I mean? Five was probably actually causing more problems for them, but in my mind, I was just like, yo, we got this, you know? And it's like I said, we muscled them into doing the whole car, the whole train. I keep saying whole car. Whole car's just one car. Whole train's 10 cars. You know, I muscled them into that. Like I said, I muscled them into the Hall of Fame. That's me, you know? I knew if I was on that front line, shit'll go good. Because that's me, you know, that's how I mean, you know, very young age, I was like pretty much ripped from my mother's arms and stuck in fucking DFY facilities and juvenile centers and shit like that. So, you know, I was grinding and I was with it, you know, and so was some of the older cats. But pretty much that whole ESP thing kind of just faded out. Like, those guys got too old and it just weren't built like us, you know what I mean? It's like, it was kind of like a clash of the old school and the newer school that was coming in. And we just kind of won, like, straight up. It's like, oh, and them older dudes, and they were no joke, man. They didn't fuck around. I could get into some serious stories about them, and the ESP guys, and the Budweiser boys. I mean, shit, there was like Time Life magazine articles about them fucking dudes and shit. Robert Chambers almost fits into that with Dave Filio, you know. I mean, those dudes, you know, they had some crazy fucking dudes that used to hang out there. Yeah, I remember Ebo, a bunch of fucking people. They didn't fuck around. Mimi's Pizza, Shaker would know. Shaker, he's out there. Shaker CTA, consider this art. Yeah, he would know. A lot of these people would know, you know, what I'm talking about. They hung out with them, you know. So it's, what it all boils down to is, that's graffiti. Like, that right there is like graffiti, without even seeing the graffiti that I'm talking about. That's graffiti. It's like, you know, it's like there was no love. Like, there's love now. And it's like, if you didn't stand your ground, like the people do today, they're like, yo, my bad, and they walk away and pop a fucking Xanax, like it's all good. I mean, what the fuck do you mean you're bad? Like, I feel cheated out of like, you know, like, yo, but what can you do? There's cameras, so everyone's fucking ratting, and they don't even know they're fucking ratting, so you kind of got to swallow it. And like I said, this all became very clear to me around that time with Joey TDS. You know, when I was ready to just slice this fucking Ezo dude up right there, I was like, yo, Joey, man, I'll cut him up right here. By the time you get out of the hospital, Hall of Fame will be all painted. As soon as he gets in that stretcher, I'm not going to kill the guy, of course, but, you know, as soon as he's in that stretcher and they wheel him out, you just be like, okay, people, show's over, get back to work. You know, Lace, get over there, let little purr squeeze in over there and shit, you know. Hey, it never happens. You know, he's like, yo, Rob, man, you're bugging. You know, sometimes he has to grab me back to reality and shit. But, yeah, it's some funny shit, man. That's some funny shit, man. Joey's a trip, man. Yeah, Joey's a good guy, man. I love that dude, man. Yeah, good people, man. Yeah. I could go on and on and on about stories, you know. But the reason I'm actually starting this whole YouTube thing is to give you like a little bit of an understanding of graffiti. Like, that's graffiti. Like, it's not like some dude from Williamsburg wearing pants all tight. You know, like, hey dude, you wanna smoke some weed? Yeah. Like, nah, that's not it, man. It's like stand your fucking ground was like the most important part of it all. Like, if you didn't stand your fucking ground, man, that was the most important fucking part of it, man. Like, if you didn't do that much, then you weren't really considered a writer. You were just some idiot that's taking up space on the wall. Like, and I know, I know when this whole, I know who's the godfather of this shit. You know, just like they say Scene's the godfather of graffiti. I know who's the godfather of like playing this hide and go seek, crossing people out, and with the thoughts of never meeting them. The average graffiti writer, 99.9% of the time, you cross him out, he's gonna go looking for you. But there's a new breed of writer that came in around that period where they go, they got money too. You see, that's another thing, the money. These people have a lot of fucking money, these guys do this shit. They scribble you out, and it's like, yo, that's some annoying shit, man. But anyway, I don't know, it doesn't bother me. I would actually just do another tag right above that one or something, but I don't write no more, so but in pointing out theories of it, another thing with these rich graffiti writers, guys with a lot of fucking money, you can't trust them. Believe you me, mark my words. You trust them, you're gonna get burned. And this is why. They feel as if they're more important than you. They feel as if they're more relevant than you. They feel as if they got more to lose than you if they get arrested or if you get arrested. And they will flip on you. As sure as the sun will rise tomorrow, they will rat you the fuck out. Stay away from rich writers. Especially, like, it's funny, this one guy actually sent me a picture. It's like, not too long ago, maybe 5-6 months ago. And like, you could see his face. I actually have it on my Instagram. Well, not his face, because that would be kind of ratting. But I explained. I said, yo, I'm come after you. You know, and he's like hiding half his face. So what the fuck is that? It's like some new gang thing or something? Like, I didn't understand what he was doing. But the one thing I did notice, like, I think this is something new they do now. They block their face, like it makes them look tough or something. But one thing I did notice, the fucking guy didn't even have a scratch on him. Not one bit of scar tissue at all. As a matter of fact, it looked like he plucks his fucking eyebrows. I'm just saying, it looked like he plucks his fucking eyebrows. And he's gonna come to me with that shit? You know, no, for real, if you really sit down and think about it, it's a whole different breed of writers, man. I could get into some funny fucking shit, but I think I pretty much laid a lot of it on the line, and I know I cursed a lot, and I don't know if this thing's even gonna make it, if YouTube's gonna cut it off or whatever, but I don't know, I'll try again, you know me, that's one thing, I don't give up. I mean, how long have I been writing graffiti? Just about everything I do in life, I go for it, you know, and I follow it through to the end, and we're going to do this. We're going to have some fun, and I'm so sorry if this is like choppy or stupid or just dumb the way I'm doing it. But I'll work around it. Give me comments. Let me know. It'd be like, yo, dude, man, what the fuck? You know, it's good, this, that, or it sucks or whatever. Like, you know, please help me out here. You know, I got some good shit to go on and on and on about, man. You know, funny shit, man. Please, bear with me on it. All right, man. Yo, take care of yourselves, all right?